Oh, welcome to the Sharpe Show. So happy to have you with me this evening. A little bit past 7 p.m. on the East Coast. It's Saturday night, the day before Easter, and midnight mass will be tonight. For those of you who may be celebrating, good for you. I will not be doing the red eggs this year, as many Eastern Orthodox do, Greeks do, I should say, and not this year, but maybe next year. So we'll see. No red eggs for me this time. Those of you who are in that world know what I'm talking about. So I'm here for an AMA. Why? Because I try to do at least one per week, because I know you guys do like the AMAs. You like the chats. I know last week we had a good AMA. Yesterday we had a pretty good chat back and forth. And I wanted to talk about something which I thought I had brought up months ago. My worry, my concern, and my concern that anybody, any group of people who winds up becoming so popular or so dominant, going too far and messing up and making people, either say no or backlash or something like that. That was my worry. And it wasn't because it was Trump. It was because anybody would do it, to include Trump. Trump is not immune from this. I see it in New York State. The New York State Democrats just keep going until people are just running away from the state, because there's nothing stopping New York State Democrats from doing whatever they want. Supermajority. A Democrat hasn't won a statewide election in New York State in 23 years, and it's nowhere near going to happen again. All those things keep happening in New York State, and I'm now beginning to worry that this is going to happen in America with Trump. So I want to talk about that as a start. But again, this is AMA, whatever you want to ask. And I do want to bring up one thing. The reason this got me spurred was because of this from CNN. Now you're going, CNN, is it? This one guy from CNN, he tends to tell the truth because he pisses people off on CNN. But this time, he didn't piss them off. He had news that they liked this time. So he was their buddy then. Let me see if I can get you guys to see this piece. This is the guy talking about Trump's polling.
We are getting a clearer picture of how Americans are feeling about President Trump and his economic policy now 12 weeks into his second term. CNN chief data analyst Harry Inton is here to run the numbers. Hello, Harry. Happy Sunday to you.
You as well.
Okay, so where are we with Americans and how they're viewing the economy?
Yep. Yeah, so a CBS News YouGov poll came out earlier today, and I will just say, I'll put it in stark terms, I believe this is the worst poll that Donald Trump has received in his second term, and we can go through it, Jessica.
This is an issue now. We're seeing it right now that his polling is beginning to go down. Does that mean it's the end for Trump? No, it does not mean that. It doesn't. But it does mean he's got to start to worry about something, right? He's got to be looking, or maybe his team is okay with it and they expected it. It's possible. I know there are people who think in his cabinet that, look, it doesn't matter because it's going to do what's called a V. It's going to be a dump and then boom, right back up. That's what they hope. But we'll see.
Talk about the economy, right? Think the economy is getting worse. Back in November, it was 42% of Americans. You don't have to be a genius to follow this timeline. By February, it was 49%, March, 51%. Look at where we are now, 53%. The clear majority of Americans think the economy is getting worse. And that
now, the reality of it is, that is whether you like or don't like Trump, there's a chunk of that was going to happen no matter what, right? Whether it was Harris or Trump. And the biggest issue is the economy already was in trouble from last year. We do know that. And the second piece is AI is letting go a lot of people. So we know those things are happening no matter what. So not taking anything away from Trump, just saying no matter what would have happened, this would have been an issue.
Number is rising. When Trump, of course, won that second term, it was 42%. Now we're up 11 points. The clear majority, 53%. This poll and this number in particular is no bueno for the president of the United States, Jessica.
And who are they blaming for what they are seeing as an economic downturn?
Yeah, okay.
Yep.
So obviously you had Joe Biden before you had Donald Trump. And of course, Donald Trump would say, you know, Joe Biden left us in a horrible.
And this is true. I think if you look back just a week ago, 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago, Trump saying it was Biden's fault was working. It absolutely was working. I'm not sure it's working now, but it was absolutely working. That was working. People were buying
I have to help dig us out of it. All right. So let's take a look here. More responsible for the state of the economy or the economic state. In March, CBS News asked about inflation, and 38% said it was Joe Biden who was more
100%.
responsible, compared to 34% who said Donald Trump. Let's jump forward to now in the month of April. Look at this number, 54%.
And the reason why that's happened is because, and again, you guys who like Trump, you can be mad at me. I'm telling you the truth. Trump's people utterly screwed up with communicating the tariffs. Now, that might have been because of what they're trying to do overseas. That's possible. I think we'll find that out. But whether or not it was on purpose or an error, so maybe they didn't screw up. It didn't go well. That's what I'll say. It didn't go well. It was either we don't care, we've got this grand scheme thing that could be that, or it's we just screwed up because the people did not hear it at all. Although Trump's enemies were very good at turning the tariffs against him. You can see it here. This is a PR nightmare for Trump right now. The reason people believe the economy is all his fault now is because tariffs. The enemies of Trump have worked very well to make this happen. This has been a win for them. Now, the question is, did the Trump people know this and like, it's okay, fine, we get it, and we got to get our grand strategy done? Or is it, oh my God, now what? I'm starting to think it might be now what, but we'll see.
Of Americans say that Donald Trump is more to blame for the state of the economy than Joe Biden. Joe Biden's number has fallen from 38% to 21%.
They forget about him already. I mean, he forgot about himself already, but they forget about him already.
Trump may try to blame Joe Biden for this, and maybe that was working a month ago in the month of March.
Anymore.
But since the tariff war has begun, it's not working anymore. Americans are not buying what Donald Trump is selling them. They believe, the clear majority, 54%, that Donald Trump is more to blame for the state of the economy at this point than Joe Biden is, Jessica.
Yes. That is interesting to see how that evolves.
Oh, no, stop. She loves this. To be forward. Look at that smile. You've seen the other times when he comes up and goes, the last couple of months, Trump is doing awesome. He's winning. They're like, what? It's impossible. He's the evilest guy in the world. There's no way he could be winning. CNN was pissed. Now it's like, oh, he's losing? Oh, yeah. I'll buy that one. This one's a real one. Good.
In the last month, really.
Yeah.
How are they viewing tariffs?
Yeah. Okay. So obviously the big thing when it comes to the state of the economy right now for Donald Trump is tariffs. So let's take a look here. All right. The tariff plan, new tariffs on importing goods.
When he was doing the tariffs, what did I say? I told you the same thing. If he doesn't, this is a big gamble. It's a huge use of political capital. It's got to pay off. If it doesn't pay off, if this tariff thing does not pay off, there is no doubt that the Republicans think they're butt kicked in 2026. If it pays off, it's going to be amazing, right? Trump has to do three things to be just an amazing president in almost everybody's eyes, right? I mean, some people are going to hate him no matter what, but take away those chunks of people. End both wars in a way that's satisfactory to people there. Doesn't be great, just satisfactory. And turn the economy around and make this tariff thing work. If he does those three things, he's amazing, and the Democrats will be crushed in 2026. If he doesn't do those three things,
versus favor. You go back to January, look at this. 48% said they favored these new tariffs, these Donald Trump tariffs, compared to 46% who opposed. Look at where we are now in the CBS News YouGov poll. A switcheroo, Jessica, a switcheroo. The clear majority, 58% of Americans oppose these new tariffs, compared to just 42% who.
That is what has been hurting him. This tariff thing is.
Again, this is part of the picture that we've seen throughout this presentation, right, Jessica? More and more people are turning against Donald Trump. Their views of the economy are getting worse. They are holding Donald Trump responsible. And when it comes to his signature issue, so far in his second term, tariffs, I mean, my goodness gracious, that trend line is ridiculously.
That's what I wanted to bring up. There's more, but it doesn't really matter. I just want to start with that. I'm happy to take any questions or comments. I just thought it was be an interesting way to get this thing started. I do think that the most interesting piece is, will this work for him or not? It is a serious gamble. It is a serious gamble for him. If it works, good for him. If it doesn't, he's paying the price. Let me grab a couple comments. regarding this, then I'll go off and take any questions. Andrea, thank you for being a member. I appreciate it. She says, my question is why they're doing so many polls. I don't remember them doing so many polls for any of the president. They do polls often, right? Remember, when do they do polls? Most people don't know this, Andrea. They think that, well, it's like CBS. It just does a poll because it does a poll. No, people buy polls all the time, right? I found this out in 2018, and some of you know the story, but it's important that you hear it again if you have heard it. But if you haven't heard it, it's important. I would go in 2018 when I was running for governor of New York, and I was the official libertarian candidate. I was on the ballot. I'd gotten on the ballot. I knew people were paying attention to me. I was on TV. I was doing all the things, right? So I went to we called the polling companies up and said, why am I not in a poll? I'm the official candidate for the Libertarian Party. I will be on the ballot. Why don't you put me in a poll? And they went, what do you mean? I said, well, you're putting polls out and I'm not in the poll. There's Democrat, Republican, other, right? But not me. And they went, oh, you want to be in a poll? I'm like, yeah. They're like, oh, great, buy the poll. What, buy the poll? Yes, buy the poll. Oh, so if I buy the poll, I'm in a poll? Sure, you buy the poll. Whoever you want in the poll. Oh, how much the poll cost? $40,000. How is an independent Andrew like me supposed to afford $40,000 for one poll? One poll, 40 grand. And that was 2018. I'm sure it's 70 grand now or whatever it is now for one poll. So generally speaking, if I'm the Democratic Party and I want to find a way to hammer Trump, what do? I keep polling until I get a bad poll. That's what I do. Because then I have a narrative on how evil he is, how bad he is. So that's why they do polls, because people keep buying them. They don't do polls because they're bored. That's not a thing. People buy them. So yes. So they keep doing the polls so that and look, it's a smart move. If I'm the Democrats, I'd be polling them every week too. Of course I would. And I'm trying to find exactly what happened. I'm looking for a narrative. See, we were right. The orange man is bad. It's actually a smart move, right? Whether you would agree with that ethically or not, Andrea, I'm not saying, but politically, it's a smart move. Polls are amazing marketing tools. They are. They're amazing marketing tools. So that's why they're doing so many polls, in case you were wondering why. So yes. So, all righty. Let me grab a couple more of these here. Michael, thank you for giving me a member. We were warned of short-term pain. True, but not. This is the problem, that he didn't do well, Michael. You're right. He did, but he did it in a flippant way. Like, well, there'll be some problems. He did it flippantly. Wrong way of doing it, right? If I'm going to ask you, Michael, and I'm going to say, Michael, look, whatever your lifestyle is, it's going to be worse for about a year. I made the number up. If it's a year or 6, whatever it takes. If I can't go, your life will be worse for a year. Now you're like, what the hell, Larry? It's my life. Why you mess with what? I got to tell you, I got to say, Michael, I'm going to be very forward. Your life's going to be worse for about a year. But after that year, and other people are going to suffer too. There's going to be you. A lot of us are going to suffer for a year. And after that year, here is what's going to happen. And here is my reason why. And here is my proof why. Now, if you don't like me, you still might tell me to go take a flying leap anyway. But assuming that you're on my side, and most of America was on Trump's side. Well, most of voting America was on Trump's side. Most of voting America was on Trump's side early on. If he had spoken in that way and said, yes, we're all going to suffer for about a year. You're going to see it, but here is why it will be better. Here is what will happen in some way, shape, or form. Most Americans, specifically those who already supported him, would have been like, all right, I trust you. I'm going to give you a year. How do I know that to be true? Because that's what Milei did. Milei had a similar issue in Argentina, but he was very clear. He was very clear on what was going to happen and how it was going to work. And his people backed him, even though he took pain to be forward. Obviously, I think Milei is great. I think he did a great job. But his stuff has not been perfect. He screwed up and he's made mistakes and people have suffered. That's true. I don't think there's any way realistically that couldn't have happened, but it did. And the people backed him. He kept over 50% favorability rating his entire first year, even when things were wrecked. Why? One thing Milei does well, whether you like him or not, Milei communicates well. And the Trump team did not communicate this well. That is my point. Now, again, it might have been on purpose. We're going to find out 6 months or a year from now if all these great deals that he tells about does pop up. If it's true, if it is true and the great deals pop up, he can say, see, we got the great deals. I know I didn't communicate well to you, but I had to play whatever 4D chess with the rest of the world or whatever. I'm hoping that's true, Michael. I don't know that to be true. I have no evidence that's true. I can only hope that it's true. I don't know if it's true. This might be just a huge screw up, but I hope not. I really hope. And I'm serious when I say this. I hope that 3 months, 6 months from now, whatever's the appropriate time frame, that I can come back and go, oh, wow, he did a great job. He was playing 4D chess in the world, and look at all these great deals, and the economy's bouncing. I hope that's true. I'm not sure that's true, but I do hope it is. And I mean that sincerely. I want America to do well. So yes. All right. I think I covered that. Let me cover some more let me grab some of these members. By the way, guys, if you like the show and you like what I'm doing, click the button known as like. It does matter. Click that button. Lima, India, Kilo Echo, please do so. It is important. If you have not shared this someplace, do it. Take this and share this on X. Share this into a Facebook group. Share this someplace else so other people can see it and they can ask questions and call me names if they want to, whatever the case may be. Please do that. And it's AMA. I'll take any questions. I'll be more lenient with people who aren't members, of course, as I can. And follow me, please, on Facebook, X, and Rumble. I'm trying my best to grow this thing, and it is challenging. It's challenging for several reasons. It's challenging because YouTube doesn't like my content, and they haven't. I've been banned, shadow type, for a long time. That's been true. You've seen it. And on top of that, it's live. And I like the live so I can go back and forth with you guys, but YouTube doesn't like live. YouTube wants me to make those videos that everyone puts out, and that's what they want. And I would rather do live because I think it matters, but YouTube doesn't care. So help me out with that if you can. If you have not subscribed to Sharpe Way YouTube, please go do so. Please subscribe on Rumble. Rumble is growing, by the way. I'm over 400 followers on Rumble. If I can get Rumble up to a good amount over time, I can shift more stuff over to Rumble if need be. That'd be great too. And I could speak more freely, do lives better, all that stuff better. Like Rumble has shows. Like I could do live better on Rumble. So all those things, if we could do that, would be great. If you want your chat to go right to the front as I go through questions, your AMA, you can super chat me on YouTube or rant me on Rumble. Either one, both good. If you want to help out the show, become a member, $49 per month. Click that join button on YouTube or click the subscribe button on Rumble. The more of that, the more I can spend time doing this and the less time I can spend working. So if you can, please do so. So anyway, let me keep going if I can. Fahim, you are the man. Thank you, my friend. 1999, I appreciate the 1999. Every bit counts. Thank you so much, my friend. We are rocking and rolling, making things happen already. I love that. I love that. All right. Let me move on to some other questions if I could. I'll try to go from the top if I can, the ones that I can get before they often zip by me too. So yes. Vivek says, first, what makes libertarianism more left than left and more right than right? Yeah, and I'll tell you why. And it's true, by the way. Real libertarianism is total freedom, right? The more of a hardcore libertarian, the freer you are. Generally speaking, libertarians are far more freer socially than Republicans and far more freer economically than Democrats. But we're even freer than them. What do I mean by that? Typically, right-leaning issues are things like lowering taxes and things like Second Amendment rights. Typical, right? There's so many others, but typical, right? So in that regard, libertarians are like, no gun laws. Like, forget it. We don't want any, right? And we want as few as possible. Republicans will say, no more gun laws. Let's just enforce the ones we have. Libertarians are saying, why don't we all have machine guns? I'm not joking. You've heard me say more than once when it's about the Second Amendment, people say, Second Amendment, they didn't know we'd have machine guns. And I say it. People owned battleships. I'm not making that up. They were called privateers. Individual people owned battleships. That's what happened when the Constitution was written. People owned cannon. You owned a cannon. Yes, you owned battleships. Yes, people could own them. So, yeah, M16, whatever, right? Anyway, AR-15, sorry, AR-15, whatever. So yes, in any case, so that's what I mean by more right? And taxation, we want to get rid of taxes. You've heard my policies. I try to move towards other ways of funding the government. I'm not as hardcore as many libertarians, which end it all. That's not me. But the concept is Republicans are like, no new taxes, or lower them. We're like, erase them. So that makes us more right. Left, we are all about you do you. Most Democrats do not want to legalize all drugs. Libertarians do. You're a consenting adult. You do you. Some Democrats, not all, don't want to legalize sex work. Libertarians do. Your body, you do what you want. That's what makes libertarians more left than the left and more right than the right. We are. That's where we go. Freedom, maximum possible freedom that we can possibly get. Some people are totally hardcore and want free everything. Right? I'm not that guy. I want to move towards that 100%. I don't want to end it right away. I don't think America could handle it. And that I've explained why, but I think that makes sense. So, yes. Vivek says, second, what do you think of replacing the death penalty with exile? It's no. Exile is, who's going to take horrible people, number one, right? Are we going to send them all over to El Salvador? That's cruel and unusual punishment. Terrible idea. But not just that. I don't trust the government to even be that way. I don't. Right? I don't trust. Do I believe that the death penalty is by default wrong and evil? Actually, I don't. To be forward, not by default. In other words, could I come up with a reason that will make sense to execute someone? I probably could, right? A Jeffrey Dahmer, I always bring him up as an example. That guy is irredeemable, right? So, he's dead, but irredeemable. So maybe someone like him, I could understand maybe. Again, this is theoretical, Vivek, not in practice. In practice, I'm 100% against death penalty. Why? Because how can we know who is actually the Jeffrey Dahmers of the world? And if we can, how can we be sure that we actually select them as the right ones? And what do I mean by that? The state where Jeffrey Dahmer was convicted, I forgot where it was. What state? Was it California? No, I forgot where it was. Anyway, they had a death penalty. He didn't get death penalty. Jeffrey Dahmer kidnapped, drugged, beat. I'm on YouTube, so RAPED'd, murdered, and ate people more than once, premeditated. If he doesn't get death penalty, who would? Who would? He didn't just do every horrible crime that we have on the books. He hit all of them, right? From cannibalism to kidnapping to murder. Every one of them he did multiple times, premeditated. Then there's no one who deserves it, right? That's my point. If he can't get it, then no one deserves it if it's not him. So no, I'm not a fan of death penalty at all. Again, theoretically, I'm not necessarily against it. In theory, in practice, I'm 100% against it. So yes. All right, let me see you grab a couple more of these if I can. All right, Shelly says, thank you for being a member, Shelly. We won't know if Trump is going too far or even far enough until we see the outcome. That is my point, right? I don't know how long Americans are going to put up with it. I've said 6 months to a year. So January to say, I think July is my gut. We start seeing it really beginning, like, okay, something's got to start happening. Something's got to start happening. He does have some time. I think 6 months to a year is when you've got to see some change in some, or like my point to Michael, he's going to have to really communicate better. He's going to have to really communicate better. So yes. Michael says, Larry, what do you think about Trump halting Bibi's strike on Iran at the 11th hour? I do not think that Trump wants war with Iran at all. I don't. I have no inside information on this. Sometimes I do when I tell you when I do. I have no inside information. I'm only going by the way he's talking and what he's doing. I do not think he wants war with Iran. And right now, in his cabinet, in his government, Michael, he has a problem. Trump has a problem. And the problem is he has a chunk of people who are like, why aren't we at war with Iran now? Why not? Why don't we bombing? Israel's ready to go. Why aren't we doing this? They're broken. The Russians are fighting Ukraine. They couldn't stop Syria. They can't stop Iran. This is our time. And to be forward, if you're someone who wants to invade Iran, there's not a better time. They're not wrong. I think that's a terrible idea. But if you want to invade Iran, I can't see a better time. I'm just being forward. right? So I get why they're chomping at the bit. I get why they're salivating. I get it. It's the time, right? You probably could get Iraq's a disaster. You could probably bribe them into joining the war, actually. You probably could. I mean, just because they're a disaster, you just throw enough money at them. They'd probably send militias in because they could. And they might not even support it because, I mean, again, it's a disaster. Syria is broken, right? You might even be able, depending upon what deal you make with the Turks, you might get the Turks to help out, at least logistically, maybe, but you'd have to sell the Kurds out. And again, most of the war hawks who want to invade Iran don't care about Kurds at all. They're the ones who screwed the Kurds over in the Iraq war. So they don't care about the Kurds. Trump doesn't care about the Kurds. Sadly for the Kurds, no one cares about the Kurds. That's the sad part for them. No one cares about them. So this will be the time, if you were a war hawk in Iran, sell Kurds down the river, get the Turks to either stay out or join or assist somehow logistically, because they're your only big problem in that area. If you pacify the Turks, you're good. Or simply say, hey, let us do our thing in Iran, help us with some bases, and if you invade Kurdistan, what are we going to do? What's going to happen? What are you going to do? Just let them invade, because they would. The Turks would. So the Turks invade, we invade, Israelis support, they invade, they create gross in Israel, Iran collapses. Yep, we rebuild. That'll be the goal. Now, would that actually happen? All I can say is Persia or Iran has been around for a long time. I'm not sure you just walk in and they go, well, there we go. I guess we're American now. I'm not sure that happens. But now will be the time, is all I'm saying. So I am glad that Trump stopped it. I think it's a terrible idea. I am not a fan of war with Iran at all. It is a terrible idea. We should not do it. But I do understand why the hawks would want to. Like, I get why they want to. I just disagree completely. So I'm glad he's stopping it. Look, Trump has proven several things. He does like being a deal maker. He wants to be a deal maker. If he's able to actually make a deal with Iran, if he's able to do these deals, the thing is, and I said this months ago, he has bitten off a lot. A lot. Deal with Iran, end the Ukraine war, end the Israeli-Gaza war, fix the economy. I mean, come on. That's massive. I hope he does it. It'd be amazing. I hope I answered your question. So, Fahim, thank you for another $9.99, my friend. I appreciate that. Yes, absolutely. So Weapon says, do you know the deal beef between a 10th Amendment Center and the Brotherhood Libertarian? I don't. Is that a thing? Should I know that? So Weapons, I don't really know. I can look it up real fast. I don't actually know. I don't. No, I'm sorry. I don't. I won't get triggered, Mike. I promise I won't. Mike's ready to text me right now and get mad at me. But no, I don't spend that much time with inner libertarian party fights as much as I used to. I try to stay away from them as much as possible. So I don't actually know. But Red Libertarian tends to be very aggressive and forward in what she wants. So it seems to be clear. I don't know. I will look it up. I will look it up. I actually don't know, but I will look it up. All right. Let me grab a couple of these if I can. I'll keep going down this road. All right. Let's see here. Let me keep going down here. James says, a president not approved by independents. Yep, sounds about right. Independents gave him a chance and he clearly blew it. More than ever, our country is a dose of third partyism right now. I agree, but I don't think he blew it. To be clear, in his mind, he did blow it as far as third parties are concerned. True. But in his mind, James, I think he did exactly what he wanted. He said, you do A, I'll do B, we're good. Trump is transactional, and that is both good and bad. But if you understand that, you can work with him better, right? He is transactional. So he said, you Maha people, you back me, and I'll put Kennedy at HHS. They backed him by millions. He put Kennedy at HHS. Now he's done, James. Say, I did my deal. We're good. That's a deal. In his eyes, he didn't screw anybody over. He said, give me this, I'll give you that. Deal done. Right? He said, libertarians, vote for me. I'll free Ross. About 500,000 voted for him. He freed Ross. Done deal. I'm good. He doesn't see it as screwed at all. He does not see it that way. He sees it as, we made a deal. What's wrong with you? Why are you mad? That's how he sees it. So yeah, just make sure we're good on that one. I don't think he sees it that way at all. So, all right. Matt says, oh, welcome to the Shortwave Show. So happy to have myself here. I'm happy to have you here too. Yes, absolutely. 100%. I'm happy to have you here too. That is great. So Michael Long, $49, dude. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Larry, I can understand where you're going with this, and I agree with you on this. The justice system is oftentimes corrupted, and the prosecutors spend most of the time trying to get a conviction without caring about the circumstances. This is the second piece. Thank you, Michael. And this is, by the way, why, this is one of the reasons why Dahmer got what he got. Dahmer got a plea deal. He did. He got a plea deal. Why? Why would you get a plea deal, Michael? This guy who's clearly, he's a monster. That's a monster of, if you even call him a human being, to do the things he did, again, multiple times, premeditated, right? To be that person. Why would you do a plea deal with him? Because of what you just said, Michael, you are correct. Because, oh, good, I convicted, I got him. All you care about was conviction. So plea deal's fine. You don't want to gamble on going to court? What? If you're going to make an example out of anybody, again, out of anybody on the planet, if you're going to spend the resources of American taxpayers, of state taxpayers, on anything, it's that guy, right? That's the guy that you want to spend your money on. That's the guy. And you're totally right. I can't agree with you more. Yes, that showed how bad they were. Now, again, for those who don't know, he got ended in prison by an inmate. I'm not mad at that inmate. Just saying. I'm not mad at that inmate. I might have not dotted an I across the T in that report and made sure that kind of nothing happened for that one. Just saying. I might have done that. If I was the CEO, I was correction officer, I might have messed that report up. So I'm saying, I'm not saying I would have done it. I'm saying I might have messed that report up. I'm not mad at it. I'm not mad at that happening. That's all I'm saying. So yeah, I might give that guy maybe, lower his sentence a little bit. Just saying this, you got 20 years? Yeah, you got 19. It's fine. Anyway, thank you for that, Michael. I appreciate it. I agree with you completely. Yes. All righty. Let me move on to the next one if I could. He says 12 weeks. Wow. Large obstacles. And I guess they expected Trump to move mountains. I don't think they expected Trump to move mountains. I think they were waiting. There's a group of people in America who are just waiting for him to fail and can't wait. I'll be forward. Bill Maher said it on the show on Friday. He said it. He said it before, and he's proud of it. Bill Maher said back in the day when Trump was the first time, he said he was hoping for a recession. He said it. People got mad at him for it. He said it's the only way to get rid of Trump. That's what Bill Maher said. He said it again on Friday. So if you're part of the Bill Maher crowd, yeah, you can't wait for failure. You can't wait. I'm the opposite. I hope he succeeds. I don't want us to struggle because I want to get rid of Trump so bad. That's not who I am. I want the country to do well. I wanted Biden to do well. I did. And if you were watching me, I wanted Biden to do well. Clearly he did not. But it doesn't mean I don't want him to, because if he had done well, the country's not screwed. So I wanted Biden to do well. I actually hoped that he would do well. I did. I said it when he was elected. I hope he does well. Good luck. I said this to Trump. I hope he does well. I say it every single time because the country is more important than the individual, right? I don't have TDS. I don't like some of the things Trump does. Clearly, I tell you when I don't like it. I don't like the tariffs at all. I've been very open about that. But I do hope that he's got some 4D chess going on and that I've misjudged him, and it works perfectly. That'd be awesome. And I will sit here and say it if it works. And I will say it if it doesn't work. I will say both. So anyway, yes. He says, Trump needs a mouthpiece to disseminate information to the masses. Otherwise, everyone is confused and conflicted. Yes. Yes. Surrogates are important. He has many of them, but they aren't that good. They don't know how to play this game, right? They don't know how to play this game. If you remember when I was a surrogate for RFK Jr. last year, Yeah, you got to know how to play the game. Yes. Pragmatic Party, how are you? Hi, you said ask you anything. I did, and people are. Yes, that's true. I did say that, and I'm okay with it. So please feel free to do so. Andrew says he put tariffs on an island of penguins, and that's not good. The second piece, right? Yes. If you're going to do something like this, Andrew, and your point is very valid here. If you can do something that is, I would say, a gamble or is going to cost a lot politically, you really need to cross all your T's and dot all your I's. You have to. And they didn't. Again, they didn't. They gave his enemies free ammunition. And they were going to find it anyway, but why do you got to give it to them, right? They just gave it to them. Here's more ammo. Shoot some more is what they basically did. And yeah, that they should have known better. But again, I do think this is my problem. Oh, my worry, not my problem. That's not right. This is my worry, hubris, that he will just think I'm unstoppable. Yes. Pragmatic goes on to say, Trump is a symptom of the problem. He is a reality show host who showcases nonprofit entities, which are a failure of our government. He's a reality show host who showcases nonprofit entities, which are a failure of our government. Not sure I get the last part. Not sure I do. But yes, he's a symptom. I agree completely. Yes, absolutely. Joel says the important thing to report is Orange Man bad. True. Yes. Matt says, remember, Matt, what did like poll like 2,000 random people though? I think you mean that number. That's a lot of people. That's a lot of people. So yes, that is a lot of people. Absolutely. So Michael, why you give me $200? I love you, brother. I haven't seen you in like what, 2 years now, more? I know you're trying to hook me up. I appreciate it. It's a lot of money though. So thank you for the money. I appreciate it. But I'm going to come back up to St. New York. I know it's been a while. I haven't seen what, 2 years? 2.5? I know it's been a while. I think it's been like 2 or 3 years. But thank you for this. I'm not looking to gift horse in the mouth. I'm just saying, I get it. That's a lot. So Michael says, I'll take it a step further, Larry, because they arrested my girlfriend at the time because she had a nervous breakdown because the school administrator tricked her into going out with this other guy, telling her I moved on. They convicted her because she got violent with him. Oh, that's why the prosecutor. Yes. Yeah. See, this is an issue, Michael. You bring up another valid issue. Because of how we work in our school system, you have administrators who decide they know better than parents. You see it constantly. In fact, you see administrators who actually tell you that you can't see your own kid. You have administrators who tell the kids, you don't have to tell your parents about this. All the time. That is a common thing that happens all the time. That's an issue. When you start to have that kind of environment, then people decide they know better. So those administrators, they decided that you and her were not the thing. They decided that because they know better. So now they're going to convince her or convince you or convince whomever. Now, I don't think that I don't know the details, but I'm going to tell you what I feel, what I think from this. I don't think they actually tricked her into going out with somebody else, but they probably convinced her that you were not the right person and that guy was waiting in the wings, right? That guy was waiting in the wings. So they moved on. Now, if she gets violent, the question is, why did she get violent? Did she get violent with him or with them? Did she get violent with them when she found out, or violent with him when she realized she shouldn't be with him? Either way, not an excuse. She shouldn't have gotten violent. I get it. That's not good to get violent. But if her outburst was because of somebody else, particularly if she's young, right? In this case, high school. Was that right? It's high school. So you're basically a minor at that point. If someone else is encouraging that, a judge should take that into account. So anyway, I hope I answered your question, Michael. I appreciate it. All right, let me keep walking down the short if I can. All righty. I have so many of these. I'm going to keep grabbing if I can. All right. James says, no pain, no gain. Probably something both major parties say as their rhetoric to avoid answering the question and grift. Yes, which is why I'm saying that isn't enough. You have to actually explain how long you think, why it's going to happen, how it's going to happen, all of those things. You've got to walk down all those roads, right? That's the way you can make it happen. Phil says, Trump shouldn't have said that we're already in a golden age. You know what? You remember I said that. I said that might come back to bite him. I did the show with Mike Voss. If you remember, I did a show with Mike Voss. And I said this, I'm not sure about this one. This could be a problem. We'll see what happens. He has to say when the golden age is going to come. He's got to say that, right? We're going to go into one, whatever, in 2026. Oh, whatever the time frame he believes is, right? I hope it's by 2026, right? But he's got to say that. 2026 is going to start our golden age, right? He was like, first of like, this, the second I come into power, it's a golden age. Or then he was like, there's going to be one. I don't know when, but you're going to love it. Like, that doesn't work. You're correct. Malay said 2 years of correction and rebuilding. Things got better in a year. Correct. Malay was much better at communicating. It's absolutely true. Malay communicated in a way that people thought it would take 2 years, and he knew it could take less. But he covered himself just in case it didn't, just in case it actually took more. He covered himself. So, yes. Thank you for that. Shelly says, I like watching the man on the street polls because they're sincere enough and brutally honest about their opinions. True. That is fun. Yes. Rick says, in 2016, I considered Trump to be an anti-libertarian in every way. After softening that during the 2024 campaign, it seems that Trump's illiberal bent has reasserted itself. I'm not sure it's an illiberal bent, to be forward with you, Rick. I think he just doesn't care either way. He is literally transactional. He wants to be the cool guy who gets the cool stuff. That's what I think he wants. If that means that he'll be libertarian to get it, I think he'd do it. I think he would make a deal with libertarians. If he thought that would help him, he'd make a deal. I think he would. So I don't think he's anti-libertarian. I think he'll be it fine if it gets him something, right? He is trying to seal his legacy, and he's trying to make deals to seal his legacy. Now, some people are upset about that. They're like, well, he's not doing it for the right reasons. He's selfish. I don't care. I don't care if he's selfish. And I don't mean to be flippant, but I'd like a president to help America out. If that's for selfish reasons, okay. If that's not, okay. If he wants to be a martyr because he loves the world, okay. Like, I'm not concerned. Just do the job. I really don't care why. And if he can achieve what he wants to achieve, if he can do it, I'm going to be happy. There's two issues. One is, will he actually get it done? Two is, if he does, what price do we have to pay to get it done? I think that's your other issue, Rick, right? Are we going to have to sacrifice everything to get it done? Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. So, yeah. Mr. Taz says, Trump is in his late 70s. At that age, one's neuroplasticity isn't high enough to come up with a master plan. You've heard me say that often. I don't think it's actually Trump coming up with these plans. And I'm not mad at him for it. He's a president. He doesn't have to, right? He doesn't have to. He has to have the right people who have the plan. And often I think it's not his plan. But it's okay. He has a goal that he does. Like, he's going to say, I want this. And then people are like, okay, I got you. And here's the plan, right? Here's the plan. Here's the so-and-so, right? I think that's happening often, which again, I'm okay with that. I don't mind if his team comes up with stuff. When I ran for office, I didn't come up with everything myself. I wish I was that smart, right? No, my team often came up with good ideas. It's fine. It's fine. I don't have a problem with that. So yes, I think your point's valid. I don't think all these are his plans. I don't. I think they're his goals. That I do think. Mike Voss back. He says, first, of course, some polls drop at 100-day mark. That's the norm. 2, Dems demonize the tariffs to fearmonger and make Trump admin look bad. True, and it worked. You're right, and it worked. Yes, I think both of those are true. Yes, and it did work. It was first topic that they succeeded pushing. Correct. That's the polls. Agreed. Yeah. And again, one of two things, Mike. One, Trump expected it, or as people expected, they said, don't worry about it. We're going to bounce. It'll be fine. By 2026, life's going to be good. Let's just put up with it and move on. That's option one. Option two, oh my God, we screwed up. We didn't communicate it well. We'll see which one it is. We'll see. So, yes. All righty. Phil says, I want to commit all my organs to Thomas Sowell to keep him working. Yeah, I'm with you. Yes, he's brilliant. And again, you guys who get mad at me when I talk to the lefties, remember something. And Phil, you know this. Everyone else listening may not. He used to be a Marxist. That's true. Thomas Sowell, one of the great libertarian minds of our time, literally used to be a Marxist. Why? Because with what experience he had and what knowledge he had, that seemed to be the right answer. He's a smart guy. With the data that he had, the experience that he had, that seemed to make the most sense. So why did he change? Two things. Number one, he changed knowledge. He literally met Milton Friedman in college. They talked. They learned from each other. So he got that. So number one. And then two, he went to work for the Department of Labor. And then he saw government in action, and he saw exactly what Friedman was talking about. He was like, oh, yeah, I was wrong. And now he's one of the most hardcore libertarians there are. Yes. So that's what I would say. People go, well, someone's a leftist or someone's a neocon, so they're stupid. No, that's what they believe with the information they have and experience they have. So if I can give them a different level of experience, a different level of knowledge, they might become more libertarian. And Thomas Sowell is my guiding light. He is one of the reasons why I spend so much time talking to the left. Because for those of you who know the libertarian movement, it's easier in general for people to come from the right to libertarianism. Easier, and we get more of them. But they also go back a whole lot faster and more often. Right? They come over, then they go back. That happens. It's harder for us to get libertarians from the left, and fewer of them come. But when they come, they ain't never going back. They ain't never going back. Some of our hardest core activists came from the left. You might go, what? Yes, that's a true statement. A whole lot of them came from the left because once they see the light, oh man, do they see the light. They see the light. So yes, and Thomas Sowell's one of them. Came as, again, you will ask him, you can see it. He was an open Marxist. Not anymore. So yes, I just thank you for that. So, all righty, let me grab down some more of these if I can. Pragmatic Libertarian says, no taxes on your primary residence. Oh, that's kind of cool. I like that idea. It's a nice idea. Another great way of doing it. I love that. Another great idea. I'm looking over here at Rumble. Let's see. Joel says, I used to be for the death penalty until someone asked me if I thought the government ever makes a mistake. Yeah. I think it was Illinois. Andrea will know this. If you're in the chat, Andrea. I think it was Illinois. They did that death row survey or with DNA check, and something like, I forgot the number. It was a high number, like 12% or something. I'm making that number up. But it was a huge chunk of people who they thought were actually probably innocent on death row. And they were like, moratorium on death penalty. And that was the biggest example of exactly that. Yes. Joel goes on to say it was Julie Borowski video. I like Julie. She didn't do that. She didn't really do it anymore. I met her a couple times. We were on a panel together 8 years ago, a while ago. She used to be doing the libertarian circuit. She doesn't really anymore. She make furniture now, I think. She has some arts and craft thing now, Joel. That's like her thing, like some kind of crafty thing she does now. She's not really doing as much. At least last time I checked, she wasn't. So yeah, but she's actually very smart. I like her. Yeah, and she used to bring her husband around too when she would go. Like she'd bring her family when she would go. Be her and her husband. They'd all hang around together whenever they go, and she'd do her little stuff. It was cool. So yeah, I do remember that. So Space Station says R's and D's both spent decades screwing us over, Ray, the economy and migration. They do what they want, then cry when it's challenged. I'm okay with Trump getting a little dirt dog fighting back. Okay. All right. I'm not fighting you. That's not bad. It's not bad. I'm with you. Orion Spectrum says he's gone completely off the map with his violation of the First Amendment for Israeli people who deal with others. Anyone disagree? I think people would disagree on that one, but I'm going to just let that go. That's over on Rumble, and you can say whatever you want on Rumble. So thank you for that. I appreciate that. Let me head on over, if I could, to another super chat. Ray from nowhere, thank you for the $5. I smile every day when I imagine how bad Kamala would have been on all these issues. Free speech, 100%. I've had people tell me this, and I disagree. People have told me that they think Harris would have been much better on so many things. I disagree completely. I disagree. I'm not saying Trump is perfect in any way, shape, or form. You know I'm not saying that. But I do think we as mean the Liberty Movement, we didn't get much from Trump. But we would have got nothing from Harris. Nothing. Just nothing from Harris. We would have got just status quo. If Harris would have won, the country would be in a worse spot for many reasons. Number one, socially. And you might go, what do you mean? All the social stuff that Trump is doing, while it can be thought of as very mean or mean-spirited or anti-this or anti-that, it is what the vast majority of America was thinking, even if that makes you upset. It's just true. The vast majority of America does not want trans women in sports. They just don't. And you can say, but that's not fair. You can make any argument you want. It's fine. I'm happy to hear it. You know that I'm not anti-trans at all. You know I'm not, but it's fine. Here, America doesn't want it. Period. They don't want it. It's not, the world doesn't want it. Doesn't want it. And for him to say what he says, Harris would have never said that. She would have been like, no, put him on. And that fighting, social fighting that we're already struggling with would have been worse. Would have been worse. And there's so much of that. It's just the way it is. It's just true. You see it in England. The UK just made the woman thing. That they just made it. They did it because the vast majority of humanity is like, I'm not buying it. And again, you can have an argument. You can do whatever. It does not matter. This is politics. It's how it works. And I really think that while Trump we'll see what happens to Trump. I think Harris would have been worse. I'm with you, Ray. I think she would have been worse. She would have been worse. And the worst part is no change. As bad as Doge has bungled things that I wish they had done better with, and wouldn't necessarily going to get rid of $2 trillion, not get rid of $2 trillion, right? But if they get rid of anything, and look, I will judge Doge by next year's budget. That's how I will judge Doge. If next year's budget is actually lower than this year's budget, okay, we're doing something. That hasn't happened since when? I don't know the last time. I mean, the last one was even balanced was 94, was it, with Clinton? Is that right, 94? I think 94 was the last one was balanced. So the last one was balanced was 30 years ago. I would take just lower if that, and I'm not saying it's going to happen because the military-industrial complex, war with Iran, we haven't ended the Ukraine war yet. Defense is still huge, but we'll see. If he does it, then I'll accept that. That would never happen with Harris. There's no chance of it happening with Harris. Zero. So anyway, I'm with you. I'm with you on that one. So, all righty. Let's see here. Orion goes, Orion is all about this. He says, conference calls show Apac controls Trump. You can get me canceled on YouTube. You can try to get me canceled on YouTube. I got to stop saying that stuff. Here is what I will say with that while I'm on YouTube. That organization you mentioned, Thomas Massey said, every Republican has a guy from that organization except him. So I don't think you're wrong. I don't think you're wrong. And so many people who were mad at me for not taking a massive stand on the Israel-Gaza war. Why won't you? Why won't you? Because I told people the reality of it. Same reason I didn't take a huge stand on the Ukraine war. The wars were already over. People want to pretend they're not. They're already over. America is going to support Israel in whatever it does. Period. It is. You can get mad if you want to, yell at me if you want to, tell me how I'm wrong and Gaza, all you want. It's fine. And I'll talk to you about it. I'm happy to have that back and forth. I'm happy to. But no matter what Israel does, America is going to support them. And if you remember, I did tell you all that Israel was going to invade. I told you that Israel will invade Syria. They did. I said they're going to make a buffer zone in Lebanon. They did. I told you when they would do it. And they did. I told you that Turkey would invade. They did. All those things. I'm on record. I've got receipts. You saw if you watched the show, I told you. America is going to support them no matter what. The war's already over. And Gaza lost, Israel won. Already, it doesn't matter. They can keep bombing, but it's already over. Doesn't matter what I say. Doesn't matter what you say. They don't care what you think. I've been saying that forever also. They don't care what you think. Your thought process is irrelevant. They don't care what you think. It does not matter. They're going to do whatever they want to do, period. Now, Ukraine, same thing. But Larry, Ukrainians are wrong or Putin invaded. War's already over. And I did a show, 3 months ago? Whatever it was. Talking about what I thought about 2 years earlier. I called that war 3 years ago. And I had receipts. I showed you receipts. I told you what was going to happen 3 years ago. Just how it's going to work. Here's how the war ends. I already said it. And it's going to end exactly how I said. That war was also already over. It's already over. It's the illegal war. No such thing. That's something we made up. Illegal wars aren't a thing. It depends on who's going to enforce. No one's going to enforce Russia not invading. That's not going to happen. How do I know that? Afghanistan. Georgia. Chechnya. Who's going to stop them? Nobody. Not a thing. Not a thing. So, Michael goes on to say, thank you for 999. She was my girlfriend at the time. And what happened was they told her that I moved on and hooked her up with this other guy till she saw rage look on my face. Oh, so okay, now I'm clear. So she thought you had moved on. They told her that. Then when you were with the other guy, when she saw it, then she realized when she saw your face that she was lied to. Thank you. Now I get it. Okay, so that's when she figured it out. And that's when she got violent. Yeah, she probably shouldn't have gotten violent. But she is, and here's the hard part. When you're a student and your administrators tell you things, it really does affect you. You believe your teachers, you believe your administrators, and you are moved by them. That is definitely what I would call mitigating circumstances, Mike. Michael, I would say those are mitigating circumstances. I agree. Particularly if she's a minor. I mean, yes, absolutely. Yes. All right. Let me see if I can grab some more of these as we're moving down. So many, and I'm trying to grab as many as I can. I am trying to grab as many of these. All right. IC says, there we go. Why is the school administrator in her personal business? They shouldn't be. You're right, IC, but they are. To Michael's point, they shouldn't be. But they got in his business, and now they messed with his girlfriend. Yeah. All the time. 100%. Yes. Patty says, you are the only one I see trying to get us to see eye to eye and get along. Oh. Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate that. I do appreciate that. So, all right, I have a bunch of, I skipped some by mistake. I want to see if I can grab a couple back to just keep coming by. I appreciate these all the time, yes. Patty goes on to say, Dahmer got the prison death penalty at the hands of other prisoners. Yep, as I said, not mad. Yes. James says, if Elise Stefanik runs for New York governor and gets endorsed by Lee Zeldin, major red flag. The problem is Lee will probably jump on board and he shouldn't. He should just walk away, but he'll probably jump on board. And that might actually hurt her. The problem that Stefanik will have if she runs for governor is, to be forward, I knew she was going to run for governor. I'm not making that up. People who know me know I knew she was going to run for governor. I knew that already. The issue is she right now is heavily tied to Trump, as is Lee Zeldin. They're both trying Trump heavily. New York State doesn't love Trump, but New York State Republicans love Trump. Now, New York State loves Trump more than any other Republican. That's true. But you can guarantee what the Democrats will do. They've done us, James, 1,000 times. They're going to do it again. The second she runs, they're going to call her Trump Jr. They're going to tie her to Trump all day, all night. They're going to call her Trump. That's all they're going to do. And she's going to lose by 5 to 7 points. Just like Lee Zeldin did. Same thing. No difference. Now, unless she has some kind of special sauce, I hope she finds some special sauce. That'd be nice. Or two, she actually has some ideas. Right now, she doesn't. New York GOP has no ideas. By the way, New York GOP, if any of you are listening, you can go to LarrySharpe.com. I have tons of ideas. You can grab any of them if you want to. They are there. They've been there for 7 years. No, sorry, 8 years now. They've been there for 8 years. You could just take them if you want to. They won't, but you could. So if she has some special sauce, she got a shot. Otherwise, she's got no shot. Same as Lee Zeldin. Same. So, all righty. MW Knox says, China will take Taiwan if we invade Iran. I don't think so. I don't. Iran. China has just done recently some very special, maneuvers, exercises off the coast of Australia, flexing some of their muscle. That's true. They're flexing muscle because they want them to know that they can. They do not want to invade Taiwan. Invasion of Taiwan means massive destruction. And I mean every way. They would, if we invade Iran, remember, to invade Iran does not require our Navy hardly at all, right? Hardly any of our Navy will be required. Hardly any. We will literally just march through march through Iraq or march through Syria or use heavily Turkish troops or heavily Israeli troops, right? Or to be forward, one of the reasons, and people don't like when I tell you this, but I'm going to tell you the truth. One of the reasons why the generals told Biden to leave all our equipment in Afghanistan. That's true. If you look at this, that's true. Michael backed me up on this. He knows. Many of the Biden's generals told him, leave the stuff, leave everything in Afghanistan. They told him it's cheaper to leave it. That's what they told him. That wasn't true. They told Trump that too. Trump said, no, I don't care. If it's cheap, don't leave it. That's what Trump said. Now, problem is Trump didn't get elected again, so Trump couldn't do the pullout. So Biden got the pullout. Biden listened to the generals. The general said, leave it. It's cheaper. Just leave it there. Biden went, okay, and left it. Or Biden didn't know it, didn't care. One or the other. But anyway, whoever was in charge, whether it was Biden or somebody else, no one said no to the generals who wanted to leave it there. And they said their words, because Trump even said it. They told Trump it was cheaper. They told Biden it was cheaper. It wasn't cheaper. They left it there on purpose because they wanted the Afghanis to be able to be armed to fight the Iranians. That's true. That was the reason why they left all those things there. The generals wanted to make sure the deep state, the Pentagon, military-industrial complex, wanted to keep those weapons there. Why? The Afghanis could fight the Iranians, and now when the Afghanis now need to fix their military, it's not Soviet military. It's American military. They had to come to us to buy parts, to buy new stuff and ammo. Yes, I'm not joking. So the military complex, after leaving Afghanistan, wanted to make sure Afghanistan was still an ally and would be a customer that we could actually sell arms to, because now that most of their military now is American military and not Soviet military anymore. So yeah, forget Soviet military. And the Soviet military isn't doing as well in Ukraine, so they're like, we'll use American stuff. Yes, and there've already been clashes. If you look, you can do homework. Look, Iranian border, Afghani. There's already been clashes on the border of Afghanistan and Iran. Already been clashes. I'm making this up. It's already happening. So if we invade Iran, it's going to be our ground forces and our air forces. It will not be our Navy. Our Navy will have very little. Maybe we'll have 2 carrier groups there. Maybe 2. Probably 1, maybe 2 carrier groups. That's about all, right? Because we'll probably want to, block them in the Red Sea, and maybe we'll have some in the Mediterranean to support. So maybe 2 carrier groups, maybe just 1 in the in the Red Sea, maybe just 1. But what? Maybe 2. That's it. Well, that leaves what? 10 carrier groups? 2 or 3 are patrolling. I still got 6 I can throw in Taiwan. 6 carrier groups. There is literally not a military force on the planet that could fight 6 carrier groups, even with all the missiles and supersonic missiles, even with all of those. Not one, because the problem is, of course, we have our submarines. So those supersonic missiles aren't going to hit submarines. So even if they could knock out our some of our carriers, they could knock out some of our other shipping, our frigates and such, maybe some of our destroyers, maybe they could, right? Yeah. But it's really hard to sink those ships anyway. But I mean, if they did, that's sinking our subs. And the subs are going to sink. I mean, it's massive. What China will probably do then is threaten, and I've been saying this forever, and I still think it's true. Taiwan is going to become part of China through treaty, through agreement, not through war. I don't see it. And I hope I'm right. If I'm wrong, there's a lot of death if I'm wrong. So I don't want to be wrong. It's through treaty. I don't think so. I think they might threaten and make the deal if we invade Iran. But I don't think they'll invade Iran. That's my view. I don't think they would do it. So, yes. All righty. Let's see if I can head. So many of these. I'm sorry. I'm glad you guys are throwing so much stuff. I appreciate it. Let me grab some more. Tom says Trump's not going far enough. I think a lot of people think that. I think lots of people believe that. Yes. Phil says, I heard a defense YouTuber discover something libertarians talk about for decades. Letters of the Marquis. Yes, for defending Taiwan. Fly the Jolly Roger. Yes. Letters of mark are allowing people to privateers, private people to, do what they want to do. Andrew says, I want a tank. You can own a tank. It's legal. I'm not joking. You can own a tank. It is legal in some states. The issue is, this true story, you have to make it road ready. Yes. Those who don't know, if you've been in a tank, the treads on a tank will tear up most streets. So when you actually have your tank and you're driving it along roads, you either have to load it up a truck, and the truck takes the tank, right? Because the truck has regular wheels, not the treads that will tear up a road, or there's special pads that you put on the tank treads. And that allows tank to drive on the road. So if you get a tank, Andrea, you can, but you have to make it road ready, which means you've got to give it literally blinker lights, all those things, a license plate. I'm not joking. And you've got to make sure there's pads on the treads, or you tear up the roads because it's so heavy that it'll dig in and actually the roads up. So in many states, you can own a tank. You just got to make it road ready, which will cost you a bunch of money also. So, but yet you can. See that? You can own a tank. It's not against the law. So yes. Yes. All righty. I thought that was going to be interesting for you guys to, not everyone knows that you can own a tank. So just kind of interesting. Let me grab some more of this. Shelly says, does anyone else think that AG James should step down right now? That, by the way, was a brilliant move. The attack on James was brilliant. She is in trouble, and it makes things really tough, right? It makes things really tough for New York Democrats, because she was one of the rising stars. She was the second most popular person in her state, statewide. Yes, far more popular than the controller, far more popular than lieutenant governor. She was. So yeah, it was a big smack. She's not stepping down, not at all. She's not stepping down at all. That's not a thing she's doing. That's not a thing she's doing. So yeah, she is gonna stay, right? Mike says back to Shelley, how could she not be removed and convicted based upon what she and the Dems asserted against Trump? They are bending backwards to find a way out. Corrupt. Mike, it depends upon what do the feds do, right? What do the feds do? Do the feds actually take the next couple of weeks to put together an airtight case against her or not? Now, what will be the difference? Are they concerned about actually trying to put her away, or are they concerned about timing? Timing, they might rush it and screw it up. That's my worry. They might screw it up if they were about timing. If they don't care about timing, Mike, they'll put it airtight and she's in trouble. I don't know what they're going to do. We'll find out. So yes, that's the issue. Tom asks, how do libertarians deal with risk? I am surprised how many times I get this question. If I do 10 AMAs, I get this question 3 times. That's how often, 30% of the time I get this question on it. So often I get this question. And it shows that we as libertarians are terrible at communicating as a group. Terrible. Because I have to ask this question. I'm not mad at you, Tom. I'm just saying we as libertarians, we're not good at communicating because I have to answer this question all the time. All the time. Yes. Risk is the same as you have risk now. There's no difference. You would have some form of safety net, whether it will be community-based versus government-based, and you'd have some form of insurance, which could be community-based or could be private company-based. You'd have the option. And on your way to that world, you would retain a safety net that's government-based until community is able to support you, right? The reality of it is people are going to have problems. They're going to fail because of bad luck, fail because of bad decisions, or some combination, right? People will fail. They will fall down. So we accept that as true. You're going to have a way of dealing with that risk. Right now, it's government as a backdrop, and depending on what you're doing, insurance. I think we still copy it, right? Doesn't mean the problem that so many people have when talking about libertarianism is they assume, well, no government means nothing. Doesn't mean that. Why can't there be community answers? Right now, there aren't any, Tom, and I'm sure you're aware of that. There aren't any. Right? The communities don't really help as much as they can. We've lost that institutional knowledge, which is why most of my policies are about getting the institutional knowledge back, right? Getting the institutional knowledge back so that communities can support people. Until that happens, you keep a government last resort so that people don't fall through the cracks completely. That's how you do it. Absolutely. So there are choices with which place others at risk, without consent, without violating the net per se, different risk tolerance. Yes. Today. Happens today. We all drive cars, right? You're at risk right now from getting hit by a car. Of course you are. It's that now. So many of us act like there's no risk now. Like it's great now. And if the libertarians take over, it'll all be chaos. There's chaos now. Now. Am I wrong? You can get hit by a car right now. Buses, trains. You have an accident someplace. People who are building things could have errors. There could be a problem at a local spot where there's an explosion someplace. Happens all the time. Of course. And what do we have now? We have some form of insurance, lawsuits in other cases, and government as a backdrop. Okay, same thing, just no government, right? You'd have local community groups that would take care of that, like mutual aid societies, Elks Club, and places like that. If you have an addiction issue, you would have that. Again, we don't have it now because government's taken over that. The more you add government, the more you remove community. So you create policies to have communities grow. As the communities grow, right? As communities grow, you can reduce government because it's a backstop there. And you would still also have, of course, you would still have insurance anyway. So yeah, it still could work 100%. It takes time. Look, Orion said that they've been, taking decades to screw this stuff up. It's true. Decades. Doesn't change overnight. It will take a long time to fix it, but you can. It just takes time. So I hope I answered your question at least. So, yeah. Mike says, Bill Maher said it in 2018 and 2019 on his show. He wanted the recession to punish America. Remember that? Yep. In May 2020, he said Me Too didn't matter versus Biden, as TDS was more important. Maher is selfish and vile. He has TDS big time, Mike. It has ruined his libertarian streak. It has ruined his libertarian streak. It has. Absolutely has ruined his libertarian streak. Yes. So, all righty. Joel says, oh my God, Michael Long. I know, that's a terrible story, isn't it? It is a terrible story. Yes. Phil says, I didn't see the AMA. We've got to come up with a good AMA question. They already got good ones already. I need more. All right, we need more. That's fine. I'm gonna keep going. Yes. I'm sure there's a bunch more. I'm just gonna keep going. So, all righty. Micah says, Harvard wants public money and notions for that money, even as they are more than profitable. Do you agree they should get zero tax dollars? Same for all colleges. I'm going to say yes to that. That's a layup for me. Why in the world would I want government money to go to a private college that has an endowment that's worth what? $1 billion, whatever it's worth, billions of dollars, whatever. Of course. Yes. Walk away. Walk away. Yes. 100% walk away. Let Harvard do whatever it wants. If it wants to, I don't know, let everybody support whatever they want to support, good. Let them. That's them. Private organization, do it. And if you decide you still want to go there, you go there. You pay the fees. You do what you want to do. 100%. Yes. Mitsunagi says, tariffs are positive. In what commie world do you live in? I'm not sure if you're talking to me or not, but I'll answer. I didn't say they were. Can you use tariffs to get something, to force an outcome that you want? Of course. I'm hoping, I don't have evidence of this, I'm hoping that this is a tactic to get better deals. He's saying that. I hope it's true. We'll see if it's true. I hope it's true. That's what I'm going to say. So, yes. All right. Let me grab some more of these. Shelly says, neuroplasticity doesn't diminish with age unless you allow it to. Ooh, look at that. I'm not going to allow it to, Shelly. I'm not going to allow it to. I like that. And so I'm going to stay young forever. That's it. So looking over at Instagram, Robert Ryan says, China's economy really can't handle large-scale war with the negative effects it has on trade. It all depends how long the war lasts, to be forward with you, Rob. If it's a short war, they could easily handle it. And they have a total authoritarian government. So if it is a short war, they can easily handle it, to be forward. And I look at short war as a couple of months. That's how I define a short war, a couple of months. If it goes on, generally speaking, if the war doesn't end in 3 months, it's a multi-year war. That's generally speaking how it works. That's 100% rule, but it's a good general rule. If it doesn't end in 3 months, it's multiple years. That's how it works. So if they can end it in 3 months, the Chinese economy will be totally fine. My worry is to end it in 3 months, one of the things has to happen. One, the Taiwanese capitulate immediately. For the Taiwanese, I hope that happens. Not because I want them to, but because the alternative is the leveling of Taiwan. And literally hundreds of thousands of dead. If not millions, but surely hundreds of thousands, if not millions, dead. And who knows, multiple of that wounded, somehow harmed. Tons of civilians. The alternative is terrible. So if it does happen, I do not think it's going to happen. I don't think that China is going to actually physically invade Taiwan. I don't think so. Because if it happens, it will be horrible. Unless Taiwan capitulates immediately. Says, you know what? We're done. We put up some fake, we surrender. What's your terms for surrender? Stop fighting. What's your terms for surrender? If that happens, then yes. My gut still says in the long run, it will be via treaty. That's what I think. So yes. Rob was going to say agreed, and I don't see China winning. Military industrial complex wouldn't allow it, nor NATO. I don't know. What's happening at the time, right? If we go with the idea that they would do it if we invade Iran, then we would have to be able to literally sink their entire navy before it got to Taiwan and stop all of their supersonic missiles from hitting Taiwan and our navy. Tough. Not saying it can be done, but I don't know how many supersonic missiles they have. They have at least hundreds, if not thousands of them, right? So can we stop all of them? And then will they decide to target Taiwan with those missiles, or will they decide to target our shipping with those missiles, or some combination? I don't know what their plan would be, right? In theory, you could flood the zone with missiles to get your naval forces through, would be the goal, right? So that you can make some landings and put some people on the ground. The next goal would be to take care of our air forces. If you could get rid of our carriers, would be the next goal. Because they're so close, they could actually have air superiority. That would be possible in that war if they were able to either, because of our fear of their missiles, our ships are so far away, or they actually sink some of our ships, or our ships should retreat because they don't want to get sunk. Any of those things, if that happens, And I don't know if it could, but if that happens, they could actually have air superiority. If they have air superiority, well, now they can literally paratroop. They can literally do airlifts. If they capture, they don't have to capture 1 or 2 airfields. And they can flood the airfields with more and more troops, more and more stuff. The Taiwanese have to really make a massive assault. And the problem is, because the Chinese do have satellites, because the Chinese do have those missiles, they could blast the infrastructure, which could stop the Taiwanese from being able to literally regroup quick enough. That will be their only goal. But even if they did that, the amount of death and destruction would be massive. I mean, literally hundreds of ships would go to the bottom of the ocean. Hundreds. Theirs and ours. Hundreds would go to the bottom of the ocean. I mean, that's tens of thousands of dead just in naval forces. And then they have to make the actual invasion. And unless the Taiwanese capitulate, they're fighting on the beaches, they're fighting in the airfields, right? And for them to crush the infrastructure, the amount of civilian death they'd have to incur to do that would be massive too, because you'd have to blast all the road systems, you'd have to blast all the rail systems, which they could do. They have to blast all of that so the Taiwanese couldn't regroup to wherever the Chinese were attacking. And then you have to keep enough missiles to keep the U.S. Navy off and the U.S. Air Force off of them. Now, our Air Force could do a lot of damage. However, in this fictitious case, our Air Force is focusing in Iran. So we have to reshift our Air Force back over. Our Air Force, I don't know if it's that large, could do Iran and that. I don't know if it could. We often will rely upon the naval air forces. The naval air force is much more short range. So anyway, I'm yapping away. I'm yapping away. So yes. All righty. Thank you. You asked, so I'll give you the answer. That's all. Emmanuel says, been a fan of yours since you went on the Patrick Bet David podcast. Oh, thank you. I did enjoy that. I enjoyed PPD a lot. For those who don't know, I was on PPD a couple years back with Dave Smith and Spike Cohen. So if you can check that out, you can. Larry Sharpe, PPD podcast, you will see me there. So yeah, it was a long one. It was good. So yes. Let me keep moving on if I could. Super Weapon says, I wish I could have donated my organs to Walter E. Williams. The other guy, I remember him. Walter E. Williams used to sub in for Rush Limbaugh on his show. I remember that. He's a sub in for a show. Yes. Ty G says, Trump went too far in 2017 when he started working with Gates on David Keefe's son's dimming system. Is that true? I didn't know that. Well, there we go. I did not know that. Yep. There we go. Phil says, conservatism has libertarian mixed in, but not properly. It does sometimes. It does. It does sometimes. Michael says, hold on. Again, thank you for being a member, guys. I appreciate it. What do you think of the Emerald Party? Do you mean the Green Party? Or do you mean the Emerald Party? I don't know what the Emerald Party is. Is that another? I don't know that party. I'm assuming you mean Green Party. So I don't know if you mean Green Party, but I'm going to say Green Party because I don't know what the Emerald Party is. So I'm going to say Green Party. The Green Party, sadly, is broken. They had a real good shot last year of making impact with Jill Stein, and they lost it. Their only chance of impact, one chance, was to absolutely flood the zone. And I told them this. Like, I know people on a campaign. I told them this. Flood the zone in Michigan. Throw every single person, every single dollar, every single resource into Michigan. Everything. And literally full court press. Abandon every other state. They did not do that because they never do. A third party's always think, we got to do 50 state, blah, 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 and it never works. Libertarians do the same stupid shit. It never works. It's a terrible idea, but they always do it. Why? Could she have won Michigan? Probably not. But could she have made the spread so that now the talking point is, without the Green Party, Harris wins Michigan? That's what they had to achieve. They had to get that spread. They didn't even make the spread. They had to throw everything in fully to break the spread so that the story could be Harris wins Michigan if it wasn't for the Green Party. Now, that's not accurate, but it doesn't matter. If they had thrown everything in there and they made that spread, that would have been something for the Green Party. Now they've got some movement. Now they've got some power. Now they've got some leverage. That would have made them a powerful party. They didn't. So, yeah, not at all. I wish they had. So I hope that was what you were asking me. I'm not sure if you were or not. So, all right, and grab some more of these if I can. The Liberty Lady is here. She goes, there's some people like Kaufman of New Hampshire who don't want libertarians that come from the left. He's been pretty clear about it. Yeah, that's true. Totally accurate. And you also see many of the people in New Hampshire go Republican very fast also. To my point, I think Kaufman's a good example of that. You will see right-leaning libertarians head back to the Republican Party much easier and faster. Left-leaning libertarians don't go back to the Democrats very quickly at all. So, but I think, yeah, that's a good example of that, Liberty Lady, and I think it proves my point. You see most of the libertarians who supported Trump were right-leaning libertarians because they were able to easily go back to being Republicans. It's very easy for Republicans to do so. So, yes. Andrea says, yes, it was corrupt Illinois. I knew you'd know. I knew you'd know. I knew you would. Yes, 100%. I knew you would know. Kim says, too many killed by death penalty and exonerated after death. Makes me sick to see that. 100% yes. 100% yes. I completely agree. Completely agree. All righty. Phil says, I think the biggest criticism I have against Trump is that he's still having a big government approach to both Republicans and Democrats have a reason to lie and say they cut spending. I think the biggest criticism I have against Trump is that he's still having a big government approach, but both Republicans and Democrats have a reason to lie and say they cut spending. I'm not sure where you're there. I mean, he's not a libertarian. I don't think he's ever said he was one, right? I mean, he's not. So I guess yes, but that part I'm not shocked. Trump has never said he's libertarian. He's never said I'm libertarian. I'm one of you. He doesn't say that. I don't think he's ever said that, and he's not. So, yeah. Mitch Nagy says can't step over a homeless man and vote for middle class tax cut and act like you're doing the morally right thing. Can't step over a homeless man and vote for middle class tax cuts. What if you were to take the money that you saved in your middle class tax cut, if you do that, and you supported a charity that supported the homeless? Wouldn't that be okay? Right? Right now, we have homeless. We have more homeless. And I've talked about this. Just a video last week, if you have a chance, Ms. Nagy, if you look at it, just last week. The homeless problem. It was a video guy talking about the homeless issues, right? And again, it was this week, earlier this week. Literally, the states that have the highest taxation, that have the highest tenant rights, the highest all the things that Democrats want, all the blue states, have the highest and worst homelessness. I'm not making that up. Did an entire show on it just earlier this week. So if you look at it, it's true. That concept of I'm morally right because I vote for higher taxes, that's just virtue signaling. That's you, if you do that, thinking you're doing something, feeling self-righteous, and achieving nothing. I'm not being mean. I have data that proves that. I'm not just saying that because I believe it. I believe it. But I believe it because there's data that shows. Right, hold on. See if I can actually find. Again, did an entire show on exactly that. And I brought receipts. I didn't just say something. I brought receipts. So that was, if I can find that show, that literally was, okay. That was Sharpe way number 605, 2 days ago. Check that one out. I literally went down the list and I explained, guy wrote a book on homelessness. He was full of it. I explained how it doesn't work and I explained how it can work and what actually works to make it happen. And I showed that how Milei actually made things better. Milei in Argentina lowered lowered rents by 30% by ending rent control. Already happened. The data is in. So I get where your head is. The guy who wrote the book, who I talked about then, he said the same thing, right? But it's just not true. What you're saying, Mitch Nagy, is just not accurate. It just isn't. It's demonstrably false. If you want to help, there's ways of helping. So yes. NY Chris 107 says Democrats are the party for immigrants and transgenders. Actually, no. They're the party for educated women. That's true. Educated women. Yes. That's who they're the party of. Immigrants, a lot of immigrants now actually are voting Republican. And it sounds crazy, but they are. It's true. So yeah. Matt says, I'm convinced Doge is only feeding up more money for the Pentagon. I so hope you are wrong. But I'm so worried you are right, Matt. I hope you're wrong. Excuse me. Ed Bid, I'll say that, Ed Bid. Why do you think some libertarians will vote for Republican or Democrat for president? Because they don't see any hope in the libertarian winning, which is common. They don't believe that. And they fear the other more, which is why most libertarians did it, right? Most libertarians last year who voted for Trump or Harris, they had no faith in a libertarian candidate. And I get it, because we rarely do anything. The last time we've had a lot of faith in a libertarian candidate was Gary Johnson in 2016. I think a lot of people honestly thought he could win. I did not think that, but I honestly thought he can get 5%. I did. I was obviously wrong with that, but I did believe in 2016. For those of you know, I was his surrogate in the press many times. I was on TV for him. I stood in for him to debate when he had debates. So I would do that also. So I did stand in for him because I believed in him. I still believe. I love Gary Johnson. I believed then that he can get 5%. I think many people thought he could break 5%. And some people actually believed that he could win. Some actually believe that. I did not think that he could actually win, but I did think he could break 5%. And why would that matter? I thought that, for those who don't know, if you break 5%, that's the threshold to gain matching funds for your party. If you gain matching funds for your party, then other people want to come. You gain followers, you gain talent, you gain all types of things when that happens. So that's why I thought he could do it. I thought he would make it. And I felt good. But the problem is, if people don't believe that, they go, I guess I'm just voting libertarian because I'm virtue signaling, right? Which I've done before. I've done it. I'm guilty of that. I have nothing else to do because I live in New York. So the Democrat always wins. So I can vote libertarian just as a virtue signal, just to see, I feel good about myself. My vote doesn't matter. Where I live in New York, I have no say in my government. So I might as well virtue signal. And I often do. But at least I know I'm virtue signaling. I'm not pretending I'm making change, right? I'm not pretending. I'm literally virtue signaling. That's what I'm doing. And I tell people, yep, vote for libertarian. Why? Doesn't matter. So I'm virtue signaling. Democrat's going to win. So where I live in New York, the Democrat wins. I'm not joking. 99-1 because Republicans don't bother running anybody. So why do they vote for Republican Democrat? One is because they don't feel like there's any chance of the libertarian doing anything. And second, they have fear of the other. A lot of right-wing libertarians feared Harris. They thought she's a Marxist. She's not, but that's fine. They believe that. Or the left-wing libertarians thought Trump's a fascist. He's not. But that's fine. They all thought that, and that's how they were worried, and then they voted that way. I hope that answers your question. So, all right, if I keep going down here. All righty. So many of these. I love this. Joel, I must self-censor on YouTube. Sadly, yes. 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 Mitsunagi says, prison population is the largest in the world. Homeless population is exploding. Democrats offer middle class tax cut. Yeah, no one offers anything. I've actually expressed how to fix the homeless issue. I've talked about it more than once. If any of you care, this is years ago now. I did about an hour and a half maybe, on poverty, how to alleviate poverty to include homelessness at Queens. I spoke at Queens College about a year and a half ago. No, 4 years ago now, a year and a half ago. It's an hour and a half, about 4 years ago, maybe more. Might be like 5 years ago now. It was a while ago. But if you go on my YouTube page, Larry Sharpe YouTube page, put in Queens College, you will see right then and there, boom. Right then and there, you will see my hour and a half there. I did it live. I took questions from the students there. You'll see it. And I explained how to actually fix it. Libertarian answers to fix poverty, right? If you care about New York State, head over to my page, the Larry Sharpe YouTube page, and type in 8 hours. I'm not joking. I did 8 hours, time stamped for your convenience, Mitsunagi. Time stamps for you can click wherever you want. I did 8 hours on how to solve New York's problems. 8 hours on policy. So if there is policy, I have it. It's there. Receipts are there and done years ago. So I thought, oh, I'll fix it now. No, years ago. And done live, by the way. The 8 hours was done live with no breaks. I did it straight. So please enjoy. Please enjoy. All right. So let me keep going down here if I can. All righty. Oh, you guys went back and forth yourselves. My VA lady says, she's over on Rumble. She says, holy cow, we have almost 500 people watching across all social media platforms. Every time you mention your Rumble, you get followers here. Follow Larry, or you love tariffs. Yes, she is correct, guys. Please do me a favor. If you would, click the button known as Lima, India, Kilo, Echo. Please click that button. It does matter. It makes Mr. Rhythm, Al Gore Rhythm, it makes him feel very happy. He loves when you do that. So do that so he can share it to other places. It does matter. If you have not shared this into something else, please share this on something else. Just share it. Please do so. It does matter. Put it into a Facebook group. Put it on X, whatever the case may be. Do so. And also follow me. If you haven't followed me on Sharpe YouTube, it's because you love tariffs. That's the reason. You love tariffs. You love them. You think they're the best thing in the world. See that? Or follow me on Facebook, X, and Rumble. Go there, follow me. If you haven't followed me on Facebook, Rumble, and X, you love, I don't know, war with Iran, I guess. Some of you do. Whatever. You love war. There we go. Whatever insult you want. It's the insult that you don't like. That's what you are. So please do that if you would. I appreciate it. If you want your chat to go to the front, super chat me or rant me on Rumble. Super chat me on YouTube, rant me on Rumble. And of course, membership is always great. Click that join button, $49 per month. Keeps me going. Every one of you is a member. Thank you so much. The membership is really important. Please keep the memberships up on YouTube, Sharpe Way, and also on Rumble. Click subscribe during the live. And also, if you can't follow me on Rumble, I'm past 400 already on Rumble. Trying to get Rumble up because I don't have to talk like a baby. I can talk like a human being on Rumble, which is nice. Yes, which is nice. I would like just to be able to talk regular. So there we go. Lunatic has showed up. He is in the building. Thank you, Lunatic. I appreciate you showing up, my friend. I do appreciate it. So, all righty. Let's see. Mike says, General Milley said, yes, it's correct. Thank you. See, I knew Mike would know. Mike remembers. Mike followed Afghanistan closer than most people I know. So I knew he would know that. But was it the opinion of China? Unclear. But Biden admin knew 5K Americans would be abandoned. Yes, arming the Taliban is Iran pressure. Yeah, so Mike has been following this. That's true. Pressure on Iran. The issue is he did. Milley told Trump to leave it. But Trump actually said no. Trump's like, no, I still want to take him out. I don't want to leave all the stuff here. Trump actually did not wanted to pull it out anyway. This is I don't have data on this, but Mike, you might. I think that's one of the reasons why the generals delayed everything they possibly could and sandbagged Trump on his policies, hoping he'd lose the election so they would be able to leave all that stuff there. No, that's me. That's my conspiracy brain. But I think it was on purpose. I think it was on purpose. They sandbagged him because he actually wanted to remove the weapons. And I don't know. Did Biden want to? Or I don't know. That's the issue. I don't know if Biden knew anything. I don't know. But here's what I'll say. Biden didn't say yes to take them, and Biden's responsible either way. But do I know if he actually did anything? I don't know. I don't know. Who knows? So, who knows? Matt says, Larry, speaking of carriers, how do carriers not easily get sniped by supersonic missiles? Is their radar like 1,000 kilometers or something, and jets will intercept them, or how are they not sitting ducks? Three things. Number one, the supersonic missiles would have to actually be very specialized missiles, which I don't know if the Chinese have enough of them that could sink a carrier. You could hit a carrier 2-3 missiles and not sink it. You could hit it, but it wouldn't sink. I mean, these things they're massive. You'd have to really hit it. You'd have to hit a carrier more than once. And we also have so many other ships around it. And we also have our Aegis. Aegis does have a chance at stopping a supersonic missile. They've been practicing that for a long time. And Aegis, right? Aegis. It's basically a Gatling gun. Is basically what it is. It's a Gatling gun that shoots down missiles. It puts up a wall of steel, right? So that the missile hits the wall of steel. So a lot of the frigates and missile destroyers that we have that are support ships for the carriers, it will be their job to shoot down those missiles. So what would have to happen? They'd have to sink those ships first. Frigates in the Navy are literally called missile catchers. I wish I was joking, but they're actually called missile catchers. That's what they're called, because you have to knock them out first before you can get the carrier. So they'd have to have enough missiles that would be able to get past the frigates and the Aegis wall of steel, and which maybe they do. I actually don't know how many. Mike might know. Mike is paying some attention to the supersonic missiles. I don't know how many they have. If they have enough to do that, plus still be able to hit Taiwan on top of it. So it depends how many they have. That would be the issue. I hope that's clear. So yeah, I'm not saying they're sitting ducks, but we do have defenses against them. It's just not great defenses. So yeah, how many do they have? And then the next thing is, how far do they go out to where they can still get their aircraft in? And then how much are subs being used, right? So the other piece, we would have to destroy their subs first, because their subs could easily find our subs. And then I don't know, can the missiles, depends on when the subs come up or not, will the missiles hit the subs? So that too. I hope I kind of awkwardly answered your question. So kind of awkward, but I hope I answered it at least. I'm trying to. So, all righty. Let me grab some more of these. Daniel says, some states allow tanks, but only with the cannon disabled. Oh, is that right? I didn't know if the cannon needed to be disabled or not. I didn't know that. So yeah. So, well, then you could always just undisable it if you had to. But yes, you can own one. It is true. Yes. Daniel was going to say, my grandma used to always say, you had to keep a rooster around to keep the ladies happy. Oh, there we go. Shelly says the only thing worse than a rooster is a goose. Okay, there we go. We're talking about roosters. Okay, at Kim, you're a brave woman keeping a rooster that means suckers. There we go. Okay, so there we go. I missed that one. Okay, I got it. Tom says he didn't read the whole question. I was talking about physical danger. Did I miss your question? I must have missed your question. Maybe I screwed it up, Tom. I'm sorry. There's a lot of stuff going on. If I screwed it up, I apologize. I was trying to do it right. So we'll see. All right, let me grab a couple more here. You guys doing lots of back and forth. I appreciate that. James says, I'm actually more of an aggression principle kind of guy. I believe that resolving conflict through aggression by means of a duel, battle, etc., can make people feel good. Only condition nobody dies. Well, look, the point is, I know that if any of you were in the military back in the 80s, the 80s is when they ended the idea of a smoker. For those of you know what a smoker is, a smoker was you could actually box in a boxing match with someone who would agree to it, and it wouldn't be a fight or an assault because people agreed. They ended that in the 80s. But prior to that, you could do that in the Marine Corps. Like, you and I got a problem, I'll see you in the ring at 7 o'clock. Well, 1800. It was 1800. It was 1900. I see you in the ring at 1900. And you go, okay, that's the duel. And you'd have guys watch, you put the headgear on it, and you box it out. That's it. You box it out. And then when it was done, it was done. And no one got in trouble. That they don't do it anymore, but they used to do that in the 80s. They did it before the 80s, but it ended in the 80s. You just box it out. And that was it. Whatever happened, happened. Somebody got knocked down, somebody didn't. So yes, I threatened it. No one took me up on it. So yes, I threatened it. No one took me up on it. I was a corporal at the time. It's a true story. I was a corporal. And one of the PFCs was getting uppity. And he was getting mad and everything. And then he was like, hey, you think you're so cool? So I said, okay, is that what you feel? I said, I'll see you in the gym. 1800. Be there. What? I said, I'll see you in the gym. 1800. I'll be there. I'll see you there. I was there. He didn't show up. That was that. So yes, I did threaten him once. I was prepared. I was like, okay, you want to go there? We'll go there. He didn't bother me after that. We were good after that. We were tight. We were totally fine after that. We were totally fine after that. Totally fine. Actually, twice. Another guy too. We out in the field. I told him in the field, I said, when we get back, we'll take care of it. And he forgot about it when we got back. I did it twice. Once we were in the field, once we were in garrison. So, and then they ended it. And on my base, you couldn't do it anymore. So that was the end of that. So no more. So, all righty. Phil says, Larry did a good job of addressing Israel and Palestine. The whole spamming is ridiculous. I do it all the time. I do. Yes. Yeah, absolutely. Space Jason over on Rumble says, do you agree in 10 to 20 years, none of this will matter? All ships, planes, land fighters will be remote, drones, robots. Yes, I think the idea of us making this new jet fighter is just for jobs and military industrial complex. Why are we making a new fighter that has a pilot in it? I don't know why there's pilots in anything anymore. I don't know why we're making tanks with pilots in it. I don't know why we're making... The only thing we should be building that has a person in it is a suit for infantry. We should literally be making Iron Man suits. I'm not joking. You should be making Iron Man suits. If we're not making, Starship Trooper from the book, not from that stupid movie, Starship Trooper armored suits from the Starship Trooper book series, right? Or Iron Man suits. We're not making that. Well, we're wasting no time. Just make drones. Flying drones, floating drones, land drones. Yes, I completely agree. It's dumb to make anything with a pilot anymore. There's no thing. I completely agree. I wouldn't. I'm with you, Space Jason. I think it's terrible to make it. And 20 years from now, they won't. The problem is they'll still be. It's not going to go away in 10 years. Too much money in making tanks. Too much money in making that. It's too much money in it. But at one point, a smaller country or a desperate country is going to figure this out. Already, you see the Ukraine war. So many drones being used. So many drones being used. Right. And once that becomes the new way of making money, we'll just go to that. But I think that's probably 20 years. Because you see already, Volkswagen in Germany now is not going to start making tanks because the Germans want to now get their military back up and running. So Germans making tanks. Why are you making tanks, Germany? I get it. You want to make the Panzer. Not the right answer. Don't make the Tiger 3. Don't do it. It's not the right answer. Make drones. But they're not, because they don't make cars. So they're going to make tanks. They're going to make the Tiger 3 or whatever they're going to make. Some of you will get that reference. They're going to make that, right? But it's stupid. They should be making drones. I don't know why they make anything else. I agree with you completely. It's a silly thing to make. It's a silly thing to make. Let me see if I have anybody on Instagram who is talking. Yes, Emmanuel says, much respect to what you said about some people wanting to pay high taxes. They have virtue signaling. Correct. It's a virtue signal. And you can if you want to. But just recognize it's a virtue signal. I virtue signal sometimes. The difference is I do it when I tell people I'm doing it. I don't fool myself and I think I'm doing something great. I'm not, right? I'm not. Yes. Michael says, oh, so offshoot of the Greens, the Emerald Party. I didn't know that. That's new for me. That's new. Yes. Ed Bid says, I didn't think we should have been in Korea or Vietnam. Why should we be in Taiwan? They're longer from USA. I agree. I'm with you. I think we should not support Taiwan at all. Why? Is my camera gone again? There we go. All right. I don't think we should do it at all. No reason whatsoever. Leave them alone. If anything, if at all possible, I don't know if we could, but if anything, let's negotiate a deal with them if they want it. All the Taiwanese do what they want. Leave them alone. Let them do what they want. Right? But Larry, what about the chips? That was our stupidity, letting the Taiwanese control the chips anyway. That was dumb. Now we're putting more of them here in America, which is better. And let's make the chips. It's much better. Yes. I completely agree. Yes. So Roy says, Trump doesn't want smaller government. He wants fewer people / agency investigating him and his friends. I don't know if you're wrong with that at all, but I go back to my earlier point, Roy. If that makes him more libertarian, if that's how it actually works in the long run, I'm unsure it will be. I think only time will tell. But then I'm okay with it. I'm okay with it. I want, prior to Trump, nobody was even planning or trying to cut government. It just wasn't a thing. Again, last guy who did anything close with the budget, who cared about it, was Clinton. He's the last guy who cared at all about the budget, right? No one else does. If he actually cuts the budget, if he does, I don't care why. I don't. I know some people think I'm crazy, but I don't. I don't care why. I want it cut. I want to see something change. I want to see things shift. And if he's doing it for a selfish reason, okay. The alternative is nothing. That's the problem, right? I've said it more than once. I am not happy with the way Trump is doing things. I've said it before. I'm not. I've been open about that. I'm also realistic. The opposite is nothing. I've tried. I've tried. I've run twice, trying. I'm not going to trigger Mike. I won't. I'm just going to say my piece and I'll be done. I sacrificed 2 years of my life and raised $1 million. I'm not making that number up. Actually, over $1 million. Over $1 million. Trying to run in New York State to make a change without it being crazy and nutty. I tried. And I failed. Someone can tell me, well, Larry, what are you going to do? When you can say, whoever this person, not you, Roy, but when someone says, well, Larry, what are you going to do? You do something. Did you raise $1 million? Did you try to run twice? Did you get your ass kicked in court in 2022? Did you do that? No? Well, then you don't have nothing to say to me then, do you? All I'm saying is, I want some change. I tried twice, not once, twice. And the system told me to go take a hike. The judges told me I don't count, I don't matter. The judges lied. People were there in the courtroom. The judges wouldn't even let me talk. Again, I have witnesses. People were there in the court. In fact, if you go to my Larry Sharpe YouTube page and you see that picture atop of it, that's the people who were in the courtroom when the judge made up a reason to not let me talk. Made it up. So I get you, Roy. I do. I don't care. If I get change, let him be selfish. Okay. Okay. Because it's that or nothing. I don't want nothing. I'll take selfishness. I'll take it. Again, not my preferred method. Not my preferred method. But the system has only given me two choices. I've tried to change that. The system said, no, you get two choices. You don't like it? Too damn bad. So the system said, okay, I got two choices. I picked this one. That's all I'm saying. I tried to change the system. I couldn't. Anyway. Okay. Let me just keep going if I can. All righty. Phil says, Mike, what's Farscape about? Oh, no. He will tell you. Mike does like Farscape. He does. He will tell you. Yes, he does. Yes, he will. Yes. Phil says, if you don't follow Sharpe, well, you like John McCain. Tom goes, John McCain, that's harsh. Then you better follow me. You better follow me then. That's it. Yes. That's it. That's all I'm saying. So, all righty. Roy says, McCain's a hero regardless of politics. Agreed. Yes. You know what? You're right. I want to give credit where credit is due. John McCain spent, what was it, 7 years? It was 5 years. Multiple years in a Vietnamese prison when he was literally given the opportunity to leave. He didn't. Much respect for that. I'm always going to give him respect for that. Absolutely true. Yes, absolutely. So, okay, Mike doesn't know about the missiles. I knew he would. Hypersonic missiles are generally new, low numbers in China, North Korea, and Iran. They can hit U.S., not launched by subs. Bit danger for carriers as point defense is main defense. Yes, right. So, yeah, if they don't have that many, they have to choose. Am I trying to sink, right? Am I trying to sink, frigates? Am I trying to sink carriers? Am I trying to launch them into very specific infrastructure areas in Taiwan? If they had thousands and thousands of them, I would say, yeah, we're in trouble. But I don't think they have that many, right? And they're expensive too. So they've got to make them, and they're new. So yes, that's my issue. Where are they going to? What are they going to pick to use, right? To using them on. So that's the issue. So thank you for that, Mike. I knew Mike would know. That is my issue. I don't. If they were using that many of them, then they would already be in Russia right now. The Russians already have them and be using them already. Normally, they would be using them normally already if they were, but they haven't used them yet. So yeah. Okay. Let me keep moving if I could. Let's see here. Yes, Michael says there are videos of the Aegis gun in action. You can watch it. You can go on YouTube. Put that in. You'll see it. It puts up a wall of steel. That's what it does. It puts up a wall of steel. So, all righty. Shelly says, Larry, we had a spammer in the chat that will make the comment section difficult to read. I noticed. I'm trying to go through it. Because I know it's back and forth. It's not really to me. It's to you guys. So, yes. Andrea says, I looked it up. I can own a tank in Illinois. There we go. You think my husband will be okay with that purchase? I knew it. You can own a tank, right? That's a thing. You can. Yes, you can. I wasn't making that up. You can actually own one. So yes, that's funny. All right. Mike says, I do not trust unmanned weapons. Keeping the human cost reduces the acts of violence. Agreed. However, here's the problem, Mike. I'm with you on this. This goes back to the old Star Trek episode from the 60s, right? But the issue that I have here is the other side's going to do it. That's why. The other side is going to do it. So are you going to put our troops and soldiers against drones? And when both go down, our people die, but theirs don't. I don't see it. So, yes. Phil says APC, armored personnel carrier. They don't use that phrase anymore. It is no longer called an APC. It is now called an IFV, which is an infantry fighting vehicle. It is no longer called an APC. But yes, it used to be called an APC, which is armored personnel carrier. It is now called an IFV, which is infantry fighting vehicle. They've changed the acronym, which there was an AFV, which they changed, which is an armored fighting vehicle. They've changed that. So, yeah. Just interesting. So, do appreciate that. Phil says, Germany makes great tanks. Hard to fix, though. Do they, though? Is there Leopard? Are any of these tanks great anymore? I mean, they're all getting blown up by drones. And this is my point, Mike. They're all getting blown up by drones. So, it's going to cost me, what, $10 million, $20 million to make one tank. To be blown up by a drone, that cost me $1,000. And some of the drones cost hundreds. So, I throw 3 or 4 drones in a tank. So I drop, I don't know, $900 to blow up a $10 million tank. Not sure. And the Chinese already have the robot dogs with machine guns on them. I'm not joking. There's videos of that too on YouTube. The robot dogs. Yeah. It's true. So, yeah. Michael says they should be making drone tanks. Tanks that are unmanned by some guy or girl at a remote location. Correct. Correct. Yes. 100%. Yes. So Mike says Larry is transactional too. Sometimes I have to be, right? I feel like I sometimes have to be, right? I do. Yeah, I feel it. Shelley was there. She was one of the people there. She said the court denied you justice in 2022. I was there. She was there. That is accurate. Yes. Daniel says, Larry, when are you announcing your next run? I can't announce a run if I want to talk to PACs. So I'm not announcing a run because that would make it illegal. There we go. Andrew's with me. She goes, something has to change. I'll take the best that I can. Yep. Phil says, I'm ready for that fight. Me too, man. Like I'm ready to go back. Yeah. Tom says, I'm used to a guy who reads all the chats. This is an AMA. So you got to ask me the question so I can answer them, right? So yeah, that's it. I got to do that. The reason why I do this, Tom, is I want you to know something. I want you to know that when you're talking to me, you're actually talking to me. I do this live with no notes. So whatever I say, you are getting what I actually think. And if I don't know things, I tell you. I didn't know what the Emerald Party was. I didn't make it up and go, oh, I'm just going to make up the Emerald Party. I didn't know what it was. So I said so, right? If I don't know, I don't know. I will very often come back later and tell you what I think. I may put it in the chat, whatever the case may be. There are very few people who do this. So yes, absolutely. So in any case, Phil says IFV has more weapons usually too, right? It depends. The old school APCs would usually have some type of gun and then machine gun. Now the AFVs are like very often mini tanks. So yeah, a little bit, but it's basically like a 20 millimeter cannon, something like that. Generally speaking, IFVs are unable, unless they have a TOW on top, like an anti-tank weapon on top. Now they're called ATGMs, anti-tank guided missiles, ATGM, anti-tank guided missiles. If they have an ATGM on top, then they can take out a tank. Otherwise, they can't. They're really there. How they've been working in Ukraine and the Russian-Ukraine wars, the infantry fighting vehicles get filled with as many troops as they can. They rush out with as much speed as they possibly can towards the front. Then they get stopped. They get stopped by a drone strike. They get stopped by a mine. They get stopped by the tank, and they get somehow stopped, usually just immobilized with a hit someplace or a tread strike or something like that. Then the troops get out and fight. So they then get out and try to get cover and try to fight if they can. If they haven't gone far enough or there's no cover, they just retreat. They literally just run away. They just literally run away. And that's what they've been using it for. They've also been using, by the way, believe it or not, motorcycles. The new cavalry is motorcycles. And because some motorcycles are fast enough to outrun some drones. And also it's most drone pilots don't want to use a drone to take out one motorcycle guy. Because it's one drone for one guy. You could miss them. You might take 2 or 3 drones to get one guy. If they're going to use drones, we use them against larger targets, particularly if they don't have as many. Russians have much more drones. They're more open to do that. The Ukrainians don't have as many drones, so they don't do it as much. They would rather use their drones on taking out tanks versus taking out individual motorcycle riders. That's why that changes. So, yeah. But yes, they tend to have one type of gun, often a 20mm cannon or something like that, and then machine guns. So, but they usually move just to keep things moving forward. That's it. So, all righty. I hope that answers your question. So, all righty. Literally says, Larry came down to Florida for an event we had, no notes, off the cuff. That's how Larry rolls. He told like he knew our candidates for years. Oh, thank you for that. I appreciate that. Thank you so much for that. Guys, I'm going to ask you one more time if you could. Please click the button known as Lima India Kilo Echo. Please do so. It really makes the most sense. Please do so. Michael asked a question, who rearms robot dogs with machine guns? They come back. They go out, fight, come back, reload. Go out, come back, reload. And again, you just have a system where they just walk in, get reloaded, go back out again. Walk in, get reloaded, go back out again. You wouldn't even have to have bodies. The problem is you'd have to protect the rearming station in some way, whether you'd have an Aegis system on top of that or something that would stop, would defend the system. Unless you had a system underground, maybe in a bunker. So you'd have a rearming station, whatever that is. That could also be done by robots. So you wouldn't require that. So anyway, if you have to wait. Peace Logic walks in. Member for 3 months. Thank you, my friend. Sam Harris is really upset with Elon. Friendship ended because politics ruins everything. What is Elon doing to upset all these people? Is the reaction justified? Do you like Elon? I do like Elon. I do. I think he is doing what he thinks is best. Whether he's wrong or not, I think he does. I don't think he's trying to harm. I don't think that's his goal. I think he is self-righteous. I think he believes he is actually helping. I do think so. And I think Sam Harris absolutely has TDS and is super smart. Sam Harris is super smart. However, he is absolutely broken. Sam Harris is totally broken. His actual grasp on how things work in politics are utterly and totally wrong. He does not know how things should work because he thinks he's the smartest guy in the room. And he often is, but it doesn't mean that you're actually right on things, right? You can be the smartest guy in the room and still wind up being wrong because of your hubris. Sam Harris has so much hubris. So does Elon, though. I mean, he does also. So the friendship should not have ended. That's silly. So I hope I answered your question. So Super Weapons goes, Sam Harris is libertarian. Yes, because he's the smartest guy in the room, Super Weapons, so he knows what's best for you. He believes that. I'm not being flippant when I say that. Sam Harris honestly believes he's so super smart and right that he knows what's better for you. So he's going to tell you, and he's going to be your dad. He actually thinks that. So Rock Everyone says, are you consulting for any political campaign? If not, would you? Well, yes and yes. I can take on more than one, 100%. Yes, of course. I'm happy to consult with campaigns. Do it all the time. Absolutely, yes. Of course I would. So, yes, to answer your question. Also, I'm going to ask one more time, guys. Please share this and repost this if you would. Please repost it if you would. I do want this to go out more people, so please repost this. Also, of course, if you haven't subscribed and followed, please do so. I know I ask you often, but every little bit counts. I don't have that many likes. I don't know why you guys aren't liking. Click the button. I can look at the likes. There's that many. Click the like button, guys. What are you doing? Click that button. It does matter. Please click the likes. Not just that, though. After this is over, please, the algo right now, likes, comments after the live. So once this is over, please come back and put a comment. Here's what I'm asking you to do. Please tell me your thoughts on the first 100 days of Trump. Good or bad, whatever it is. Tell me great, bad, whatever, or whatever. Tell me what, or ultimately the number one issue you're unhappy or happy about, but something about the first 100 days of Trump. What are your thoughts, good or bad, or a specific issue? Please do it after the live. And if you're watching this and it's not live, and you're watching the next day or whatever the case may be, and the video pops up afterwards, please watch one of those videos. It helps the algo also. I will see you all very soon.